Hello everyone, welcome to this video lecture on sequencing problem part 1. In this video lecture, we are going to have an introduction about sequencing problem and we are going to discuss about n jobs through one machine problem. What is sequencing? A sequence is the order in which the jobs are to be processed. These sequence problems arise when we are connected with situations where there is a choice in which a number of tasks can be performed. A sequencing problem could involve jobs in a manufacturing plant, aircraft waiting for landing and clearance, maintenance scheduling in a factory, programs to be run on a computer, customers in a bank, and so on. There are some types of sequencing problems. First one is problem with n jobs through one machine. Next, problem with n jobs through two machines. Problems with n jobs with three machines. Problem with n jobs through m machines. Then finally, problem with two jobs through m machines. The first case is entirely different and second, third, fourth cases will be somewhat unique. And it will be solved by using Johnson's algorithm, and the last case, the fifth one, can be solved by using graphical method. In general, the objective of this sequencing problem is to find the optimum sequence of the jobs to be processed and starting and finishing time of various jobs through all the machines so as to minimize the total elapsed time. The total elapsed time is the time between starting of the first job and the completion of the last one. In this video, we are going to discuss the first model, which is the problem with n jobs through one machine. Right? And here we have only one machine. So the total elapsed time, which is equal to the sum of processing times of all the jobs, and is fixed for all the possible sequences. So here the optimality condition is not to minimize the total elapsed time because it is fixed one. We will be having some other criteria like minimizing the mean flow time or some functions of lateness of the jobs. That is, we are going to reduce the lateness of the jobs. And there are some terms available, that is flow time, which is the amount of time a job spent in a factory or a shop is actually called as flow time. Next one is total work time or make span. It is a time needed to process given set of jobs. That is the total time needed to process the given set of jobs. Next one is lateness or tardiness. That is, which is the difference between the completion time and the due date. And we have to put 0 if there is a negative value for this difference. These are the terminologies used in this first model of the sequencing problem. And we are going to solve this problem by using priority sequencing rules, which provides guidelines for the sequence in which jobs should be worked or processed. While using these rules, job processing times and due dates are the important pieces of information what we need. And these priority rules try to minimize the completion time or flow time and to try to minimize the number of jobs in the system, and it will try to minimize the job lateness. At the same time, it will maximize the facility utilization also. So we have four different types of priority sequencing rules. One is first come first served, FCFS. Another one is shortest processing time, SPT. Third one is earlier due date, which is EDD. And finally we have slack time remaining, STR rule. So we have these four sets of rules to find out the optimum sequence to be followed. The first one is, that is first come first served. In this, the jobs are processed in the order in which they arrive at a machine or work center. In the second case, that is the shortest processing time, The jobs are processed according to the processing time, that is the shortest job first. In the third one, jobs are processed according to the due date, the earlier due date first. And the last one, which is the jobs are processed according to the slack time remaining, that is it will be the smallest slack time remaining job will be processed first. These are all the four priority sequencing rules we have. We'll have some examples to explain all these priority sequencing rules. The first one is first come, first served problem. So here we have 5 different jobs. We have the processing time, that is days to finish, and date promised means it is the due date. So this is the processing time requirement and this is the due date promised. So here first come first served rule means we will be processing the first come job in the first sequence, right? So we have to follow the same sequence to process the job. A first, B second, C third, D fourth, and finally the E. So if we just consider in that way, the sequence will be the same. Work time in days will be the same here, and the flow time means for the first job it takes 2 days to complete, right? So it is 2. After completing the job A only, we have to take the job B. So the flow time for the job B will be 2 plus 8, which is 10. And for C it is 10 plus 6, 16. Then only we can process D. So the flow time will be 60 plus 4, 20. And for E it is 20 plus 1, 21. The meaning is the job C will flow from 10 to 16 days. The job C will be processed after 10 days up to 16 days and so on. That is the meaning of the flow time. And this is the total work time required, and this is the total flow time which is required if you use first come first served principle. And the due date is given in the problem. Now we have to calculate the tardiness or the lateness. It can be just calculated by just having the difference between the due date and the flow time. Here the flow time minus due date, which is 2 minus 5. So the job A is completed at the end of 2 days itself, but the due date is 5. There is no lateness. So we can just have it as 0. Because we have the negative value, we are just having it as 0. 2 minus 5 is minus 3. Here it is 0. Here 10 minus 8. So it is 2 days lateness. The due date is 8 days. But the job B will be completed only at the end of 10 days. The lateness of the day will be 2. So it is 10 minus 8, 2. The same way we have to calculate for all others. That is 16 minus 12, which is 4. 20 minus 10, 10. 21 minus 4, 17. So the total tardiness or the lateness will be 33. So if we just have all these things, we should have one question. That is, do all the jobs get done on time? No. We have 4 jobs, that is B, C, D, E are going to be late. Alright? And the average flow time can be calculated by using this, that is the total flow time divided by number of jobs. So 69 by 5, which is 13.8 days. Average tardiness or lateness is total tardiness divided by 5, which is 33 by 5, 6.6 days. Like this, right? We'll see another example. So jobs A, B, C, D, E and the processing time in days are given. Job due date is also given. We have to find out the flow time first, then job lateness. Flow time is 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 8, 16, 16 plus 3, 19, 19 plus 9, 28 and so on. The total processing time is 28, total flow time is 77 and the job due date is given here. Flow time minus due date will give you the lateness or tardiness. So 6 minus 8 which gives you minus 2. So we have to put 0 here. 8 minus 6, 2, 16 minus 18, negative value, so 0, 19 minus 15, 4, 28 minus 23, 5. So the total job lateness is 11. By having all this data, we can just calculate the average flow time, which is 77 divided by number of jobs, which is 5, which gives you 15.4 days. And average lateness or tardiness or mean lateness or tardiness is 11 by 5, which is 2.2 days. And the number of jobs delayed 1, 2, 3. So 3 jobs. So this is how we have to solve the problem by using first come first served priority rule. Next is shortest processing time. Here jobs with the shortest processing time are scheduled first and jobs are sequenced in increased order of their processing time. And by using the shortest processing time, we can easily minimize the average and total flow time, average waiting time and average and total lateness or tardiness. So this shortest processing time is very much optimal as compared to all other methods to minimize all these things. Let me have an example for this. So we have the problem here. We have jobs. We have 4 jobs. Processing times in days are given. Due date is also given. Alright. By having this, first thing is we have to rearrange this job sequence according to the processing time. Shortest processing time first. So the shortest processing time among this is 1, which is for the job D. So we have just sequenced this job first. Next shortest processing time is 3. This is for C. So C is here. And next is A and then B. So we have found out the optimum sequence. Accordingly, we just arrived at the particular table. Then after doing all these things, all these conversions, we have to calculate the flow time now. Now the flow time is for the job D, it is up to 1 day. And for C, it is 1 plus 3 up to 4 days. And for next 4 plus 4, 8. 8 plus 7, 15. And the total work time or the processing time is 15 days. And the flow time is 28 days. And we know the due date for all these things. For D, it is 4 days. For C, it is 6 days. For A, it is 5 days. And for C, it is, for B, it is 10 days. Now we have to calculate the lateness or tardiness. 1 minus 4, negative value, so 0. 4 minus 6, negative 0. 8 minus 5, 3. 15 minus 10, 5. So the total tardiness or the lateness is 8. So the average lateness or tardiness is 8 divided by 4 jobs. So it is 2 days. And the utilization can be calculated like this. That is, the total processing time divided by total flow time will give you the utilization. So it is 15 by 28. So it is 53.57%. So jobs A and B are going to be late. And average flow time will be total flow time divided by number of jobs. 28 by 4, 7 days. And average number of systems jobs in the system will be total flow time divided by total processing time. That is 28 by 15, 1.867 jobs. So this is how we have to calculate it by using shortest processing time. We can very well note that we can optimally minimize the mean flow time and mean lateness or tardiness by using this shortest processing time. Next example is like this. That is, if you want to manufacture a brake pad, it requires 5 different processes and the processing times and due dates are given. We have to determine the optimum schedule by using SPT rule. So this is a given problem. Job sequence is given, processing time, due dates are given. So we have to sequence it according to the shortest processing time first. So B should be scheduled first, right? And next is D, next is A, and then C, E. So we just rearranged our job according to the shortest processing time. After rearranging it, we have to calculate the flow time. So it is 2, 2 plus 3, 5, 5 plus 6, 11, 11 plus 8, 19, 19 plus 9, 28. So total processing time is 28, total flow time is 65. We know the due dates for the corresponding job. Now we can easily calculate the job lateness. So it is 2 minus 6, negative value 0, 5 minus 15, negative value 0, 11 minus 8, 3, 19 minus 18, 1, 28 minus 23, 5. So the total job lateness is 9. By having this, we can easily calculate the mean flow time, which is total flow time divided by number of jobs, 65 by 5, which is 13 days. Next, average number of jobs in the system, which is equal to total flow time divided by total processing time. So it is 2.32 jobs. Next is mean lateness or tardiness, which is the total lateness divided by number of jobs, which is 1.8 days. Next is finally utilization, which is equal to the reversal of average number of jobs in the system, which is total processing time divided by total flow time, which is 43.08%. So this is how we have to calculate all these things by using SPT rule. Next is earliest due date rule. So here jobs are sequenced in increasing order of their due dates. So the job with earliest due date is scheduled first. The one with the next earliest due date is scheduled second, and so on. We'll see an example for that. So this priority sequencing rule that specifies that the job with the earliest due date is the next job to be processed. So there is an example given. 5 engine blocks are waiting for processing. These are all the 5 engine blocks. The processing times are given in days and due date is also given for all the 5 engine blocks. So determine the schedule by using EDD rule, that is earliest due date first. So first we have to resequence or rearrange the entire engine blocks by increasing order of the due date, that is the least due date first. Right? So if you just schedule it like this, the least due date is for Ranger, next for Explorer, and the next for Econoline 150, and then Bronco, and then Thunderbird. So we have rescheduled like this. The processing time for the corresponding engine block sequence is given here. By having this, we can easily calculate the flow time, which is 8 for the first one, 8 plus 6, 14. 14 plus 3, 17, 17 plus 15, 32, 32 plus 12, 44. So after calculating this, we can just calculate the total processing time and total flow time like this. And we know the due date for each and every engine block. We rearrange the sequence according to this due date only. Now we can calculate the tardiness. So 8 minus 10, 0, which is a negative value. 14 minus 12, 2, 17 minus 18, negative value 0, 32 minus 20, 12, 44 minus 22, 22. So the total lateness is 36 days. By having this, we can easily calculate the mean flow time, which is the total flow time divided by number of jobs, 17 days. Average number of jobs in the system, total flow time divided by processing time, total processing time, so 1.93 jobs. Mean tardiness, total tardiness divided by number of jobs, 7.2. and utilization, the reversal of average number of jobs in the system. So total processing time divided by total flow time, which is 51.76%. Next comes the fourth rule, which is a slack time remaining rule. Here the slack time means the due time of the job minus its processing time. That is actually called as slack time. Here the job with least slack time is picked up first for processing, followed by the one with next smallest slack time, and so on. Here is an example problem. So we have 5 different jobs. So it should be sequenced to be go through a machining center. The processing times are given here in days, and the due date is also given. We have to sequence these 5 jobs by using STR rule, that is slack time remaining rule, and find the average flow time and average tardiness. So slack time remaining means, slack time means processing time, that is due date minus processing time, which is 61 minus 11, 50, 45 minus 29, 16, and so on. We have to calculate the slack time for all the jobs first. Then we have to reschedule or rearrange the sequence according to the least slack time remaining first. So this least slack time remaining first job is job number 3. Next is 2, then 5, 4, 1. So we have to rearrange the sequence in that order. And after rearranging the sequence and the corresponding processing time, we have to calculate the flow time. So flow time is 31 for the third job, 31 plus 29, which is 60 for the second job, job number 2. Then 60 plus 2, 62 for the job number 5. 62 plus 1, 63 for the job number 4. 63 plus 11, 74 for the job number 1. Then after doing this, we have to calculate the total processing time and total flow time. We know the due date for all the jobs. And now calculate the tardiness by finding the difference between flow time and due date. 31 minus 31, 0. 60 minus 45, which is 15. 62 minus 31, 29. 63 minus 33, 30. 74 minus 61, 13. So after calculating the tardiness for all the jobs, we have to calculate the total tardiness. Now we can have the average flow time as total flow time divided by number of jobs, 58 days. Average number of jobs in the system is 290 divided by 74, 3.92 jobs. Average tardiness, total tardiness by 5, 17.4 days. And the utilization is total processing time divided by total flow time, which is 25.52%. So this is how we have to calculate all these values by using STR rule. So there is an assignment question. Pause the video for a while and write it down, this problem, and you have to apply all these rules to find out the sequence of jobs, average flow time, average tardiness, number of jobs at the work sector, and also the utilization for by using all the 4 rules. Do it as an assignment. You will be very clear about all these 4 rules. Okay. Thank you. In the next video lecture, we are going to discuss about jobs, problems with n jobs and more than one machine. That is 2 machine, 3 machine and n machine problem. Thank you all for your patience hearing. Thank you.